While browsing Amazon for interesting value watches, I kept on getting recommendations for Sekonda brand, really competitively priced and with credentials like British design and Japanese movement. I thought, well, for about 35 British pounds, maybe it is actually worthwhile to check it out. So, how good is it really? Well, in this video, we'll try to find out. Hello and welcome to the channel. Before we jump into this video, of course, we've got more interesting watches for review coming out, so don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any upcoming videos. Price. As I already mentioned, this watch can be found for about 35 British pounds on Amazon UK. It's also available on Amazon.com, however, I could only find it for a slightly higher price of about $100 US. I will of course leave links to both listings in the description of this video if you want to check this watch out. One of the other reasons I've got also interested in this watch was the brand name. The brand name originally was used for the watches exported from the former USSR before 1990s. That's why there are quite a few mechanical vintage Soviet and Russian watches still sold on eBay under the same brand name. However, somewhere in earlier to mid-90s, the brand changed hands and now, to the best of my knowledge, it belongs to a Hong Kong-based company and now it fully lost its connection to vintage Russian watches. Now, with all this out of the way, let's get back to this watch. Well, packaging. So it is quite a basic packaging, fitting well to the price point of this watch. Quite a robust box with a case see-through top, the watch on the cushion and instruction booklet, which also includes 2 years guarantee, which is pretty good at this price point. And, well, that's pretty much it. Dimensions. The case diameter is just over 42 mm, we have 20 mm lugs and the case height is 11 mm, nice and slim. It is of course a quartz watch and it is good to see that Sekonda did take a full advantage of the slim quartz movement and didn't make this watch unnecessarily thick like some other manufacturers do. Also, 20 mm lug width is a very popular size, so we should not have any shortage of possible strap options for this watch either. The leather strap has a slight taper down to about 18 mm at the buckle and we have a signed buckle. Simple and functional, so far so good. As always, I will do some more wrist shots on my about 7-inch wrist and on a 6¼ inch wrist later in this video. The supplied leather strap should cover about 8¼ inch wrist or about 21 cm and the watch weighs about 57 grams. Nice and light. Dial. Well, it is quite easy to recognize which watch this one is paying tribute to. Of course, it is an iconic pilot watch, Breitling Navitimer, and in terms of watch looks and color scheme of the dial, Sekonda captured the look pretty well in my opinion. The quality of the printed minute chapter ring and tachymeter scale are crisp and clean, the hour indices are applied and well aligned. We also have a rehaut with the printed scale and of course the color scheme of the dial. Very well executed sunburst effect on the brown reddish background and vintagey color subdials. We have a date window between 4 and 5 o'clock, white background date in the framed cutout, and well executed hands with a nice red pointer on the second hand, which works well with the red accents on the rehaut scale. Sekonda even applied lume to the hour and the minute hands. Okay, lume is not very strong and with nothing else lumed on the dial makes it somewhat challenging to read the time in the dark, so I guess it is better than no lume at all, however, not by much. Well, this is not the only complaint that I have though, it will become more clear when we take a closer look at the movement in a few minutes, but for now let's examine the case and the crystal. Crystal. Well, it will probably come as no surprise at this price point that we have a mineral glass here. It is absolutely flat and pretty much flush with a fixed bezel. It does not look like there is any anti-reflective coating applied, however, the dial is quite open and very legible regardless. Moving on to the case has a mirror polished look throughout, on top, on the sides and at the back. The reason I say mirror polish look is that it does look like it is coated rather than actually polished. We have a fixed bezel and 2 pushers and unsigned crown on the side. The stainless steel caseback is a snap-on and also has a mirror polish finish. Sekonda declares 50 meters of water resistance on this watch, which makes sense on a pilot-style watch and makes it safe to wash hands and possibly be okay if you get under occasional rain, however, definitely not suitable for swimming. Movement. Sekonda says that they used a Japanese movement in this watch. I guess it is positive because Japanese movements in general do have a good reputation. Also, it is a true chronograph movement, which is also good. So, subdial at 6 o'clock is chronometer seconds and subdial at 9 o'clock is chronometer minute accumulator, as you can see, running up to 60 minutes, and subdial at 3 o'clock is running 24-hour indicator, showing what time of day it is now on a 24-hour scale. However, I'm afraid that's where the good news ends. The actual chronograph operation does not fully correspond to the layout and the markings on the dial. Like, for example, the chronograph second hand is the one in the subdial at 6 o'clock and not the main big one, like it is on the Breitling Navitimer watch, which makes the use of the tachymeter scale, for example, close to impossible. Also, the bezel on the Breitling Navitimer watch is actually rotating, allowing for additional measurements using the printed scale on the rehaut. Again, this is not the case on this watch. Here, the bezel looks like it has a grip for rotation, however, it is actually fixed. So, in short, the dial looks very good, but when it comes to functionality, it is quite limited. If only Sekonda used a chronometer movement with a more suitable layout, this could have been different. Bracelet. And let's take a quick look at the bracelet before we draw a conclusion. Well, taking into account the price point of this watch, it is pretty decent leather strap. Well, upper leather to be completely pedantic. The parts of the strap closer to the case are padded, which is nice and makes the strap somewhat more comfortable and also gives it a bit more premium look. We have a side buckle, which is good, and the strap in general is quite comfortable. As with most leather straps, do not expect it to last for eternity, especially if you plan to wear this watch on a daily basis, but as I mentioned in the beginning, with a 20mm lug width, there are plenty of strap options out there. Okay, so what can we say in conclusion? Well, I think Sekonda captured the look of an iconic pilot watch very well. A lot of buyers on Amazon reviews mention how impressed they were by the color scheme of this watch, and I absolutely agree. I think this particular colorway looks really good. And of course, having a 2-year guarantee from an established brand should give us a peace of mind that this watch will not only look good, but will also perform reliably for expected years to come. However, I must say that the use of a chronograph movement with a layout that doesn't fully correspond to the functionality on the dial is somewhat confusing and renders useless some of the expected functionality of this pilot watch, which is a shame, and I think it could have been easily avoided if they only used a more suitable movement. Well, what do you think? Please let us know in the comments, and of course, if you find this review helpful, do smash that like button for that YouTube algorithm, and of course subscribe if you haven't already done so. And as always, thank you for watching, take care, and I will see you in the next one.